One of the movies that I chose to watch was I Am Sam. In this movie, Sam is an adult who has the mental capacity of a 7-year-old, and he raises his daughter by himself until she's about 7 years old. And then the Department of Family and Children decide that he's not a fit parent and then put his daughter in foster care. And then the rest of the movie, he spends trying to gain custody of his daughter, which of course he does, with some help from his friends, from a career-focused lawyer doing some pro bono work just to impress her peers, and also just from Sam's own good-natured heart. But another crucial factor of the movie was the support structure that Sam had, and just whether people were willing to bend a little bit or not to learn more about his disability or to see how they could help. Just the way that he would have things explained to him, like when his neighbor referred to the Nickelodeon shows to let him know what time it was to feed his daughter. I thought that was pretty clever and worked out great. And so a lot of it was the people that were around him there, their ability to speak his language, I guess, so that he would understand um, how to be more successful, how to be more effective in whatever he's doing. Um, that was an awesome movie. I really loved it. I've seen it before and I watched it again for this assignment, and it was just incredible. Um, and it was cool because this little girl now had a huge support of people that just loved and cared about her, from like the foster parents to Sam and all his friends, and those the lawyer, just all those that were in Sam's life. You know, so I thought that was a very cool ending to the movie. The other movie I watched was Mercury Rising. This is a very typical Bruce Willis action movie, except for that one of the main characters was a 9-year-old boy with autism. Um, from the limited amount that I know about autism, it seemed like it was a pretty severe case of it. Um, Another thing I noticed here was that just the different approaches that the people had with them, like the police and the paramedics didn't know what to do, so they strapped him down and just kind of used force, and that was really not successful. Bruce Willis tried to shoot him like he was an ordinary kid, and things that shouldn't have set him off, like just Bruce Willis trying to be his friend or just touch him on the shoulder, would be something that would just set him off into a screaming and kicking fit. And the lady that he met in the cafe was very perceptive to what Simon needed. But the whole movie, the boy didn't really show many emotions except for just being maybe very angry, upset. But at the very end of the movie, I thought it was really touching that even though he still wasn't like smiling and really showing emotion, but he gave Art, or Bruce Willis's character, a hug at the very end. And it was just interesting because it reminded me of the book that I read, um, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Night. Now, from the book's perspective, I got to read all the boy's thoughts and everything from his own perception of the world around him. And to me, it made sense. Why he did the things he did, how everything fit together in his world. Now, from this movie, we're looking at a boy with autism from the outside, and it almost seems like there's nothing going on. He doesn't show any emotion, so it seems like maybe it seems like maybe there's nothing going on in his head, which is totally not true. He just doesn't know how to express it or how to deal with all the emotions and all the information that's coming in. So it was an interesting switch of perceptions um, about learning about autism. Um, but the last movie I watched was Murderball, and I never even knew a sport like this existed. Uh, I always had the perception that quadriplegics would not play full contact sports, and I was wrong. And the men in this movie, they did not have mentally disabled views of themselves or views of the world. Very motivated, very ornery, especially what is his name, Zahn, who wanted to pick fights with people still. And it's just funny because his friends say like, yeah, no, his personality didn't change too much. He was pretty much a jerk before he got in a wheelchair, and he still is a jerk. But they, a lot of courage, a lot of motivation, a lot of perseverance, and in fact, I had a roommate a friend of mine I lived with for a while who was in a wheelchair, and he was paralyzed from his chest down. He had good movement of his arms, but no control over his legs, and then no feeling in his legs either. But I after last I lived with him for about 2 years, maybe 3 years. But after a few months, I don't even think of him as being disabled. There really wasn't too much that he couldn't do. He never complained about it, and he was very organized, very motivated, and it got kind of embarrassing because he would be cleaning up after me, stuff that I would leave out and leave behind, and but his attitude towards life was different. He didn't take a lot of things for granted, and like I said, very motivated and very organized. And I think that has something to do with just for them, just for people in that situation, just to get through a normal day, it takes a lot more than if they have full capability and full use of their body. And so that mindset and that mentality just goes through everything in their life, and that can turn out to be a humongous help and a huge advantage to them that say people that are not disabled would not always have. A lot of things that we would take for granted. The young man that used to do the motocross said that the biggest struggle was mental and not physical. It was all the things that you used to be able to do that you couldn't do anymore. But it was encouraging to see, they had a lot of things that they still struggled with, but that they had the perseverance to get through and to keep going on. That their life just wasn't over. It was very different, but it was not over. In all these movies, the main thing out of that I did pick up on is that for a person with a disability, it is very important that they're surrounded by people that are very supportive. That would be one of the keys to their success. To have people that are willing to help them out, and and not treat them like they're disabled, but be able to know how they want to be treated. What do they need help with? How can you help them? By always asking them what they need help with might not be that helpful. You know, but now these movies were excellent. I really enjoyed this assignment, and I want to thank you for the wide choice of movies that we could watch, and it was very good edutainment.